you ever found yourself thinking about someone all the time? Not just once in a while, but constantly. You check your phone for their message, replay every interaction in your mind, and feel your heart race at the thought of them. It feels intense, thrilling, almost uncontrollable. But here's the twist. You're not just in love. Psychologists have a name for this overwhelming obsession. It's called limerence. And today, we're diving deep into the psychology behind it. Why do some people haunt our thoughts endlessly, while others barely register a blank? Why does your brain fixate on one person, even when logic tells you it's unhealthy? By the end of this video, you'll understand the science, the symptoms, and how to navigate this powerful and sometimes dangerous emotion. Let's start with the basics. Limerence is a term coined by psychologist Dorothy Tenoff in the late 1970s. She described it as an intense, involuntary, and often obsessive emotional state toward another person. Think of it as the brain's love addiction. Unlike simple attraction or infatuation, limerence isn't just about liking someone. It's about needing them, craving their attention, and replaying their words, gestures, and even glances in your mind over and over. Here's the kicker. Limerence doesn't always involve a romantic relationship. You can experience it towards someone you barely know, your crush at school, a colleague at work, or even someone you met online. Psychologists call it a state of involuntary longing. You don't choose it. It chooses you. And it matters because limerence can shape our thoughts, behaviors, and even our self-esteem. Understanding it isn't just about relationships. It's about understanding your mind and your emotions. So how do you know what you're feeling is limerence and not just a crush? Do you find yourself thinking about this person at work, at school, or while doing everyday tasks? Limerence can feel like an endless loop in your mind. According to research, these thoughts are involuntary and intrusive, like your brain is stuck on repeat. Your mood depends on them. A simple text can make your day. No reply? Suddenly you feel anxious or depressed. Tenoff called this emotional contingency. Your happiness becomes tied to another person, sometimes unfairly. You don't see the person as they are. You see them as perfect or almost perfect. Their small flaws, ignored. Their little gestures, magnified. Your brain is filtering reality through a lens of fantasy and longing. Checking their social media constantly, analyzing every word they said, planning conversations or encounters obsessively. Sound familiar? That's limerence in action. Even minor signs of rejection, like a delayed reply, trigger panic. You fear losing them more than anything. It's a roller coaster of excitement and anxiety, often called the limerence cycle. Here's a metaphor. Imagine your brain is a snow globe and every thought of them shakes it violently. You can't stop shaking, and the snow, your obsessive thoughts, just keep swirling. Now let's look inside the brain. Why does limerence happen? Limerence triggers the same brain regions as addiction. Dopamine, the pleasure chemical, floods your system every time you think about, see, or interact with your person. Dopamine isn't just about pleasure, it's about anticipation. It's why your brain loves the chase, the next text, the next glance, the next like. Serotonin, another neurotransmitter, drops. This can lead to intrusive thoughts and anxiety, why you can't stop thinking about them. Researchers have found that limerence activates areas in the ventral tegmental area, or VTA, and the caudate nucleus, both linked to reward and motivation. In short, your brain is wired to obsess. Psychologists also link limerence to attachment patterns formed in childhood. People with anxious attachment are more likely to experience intense limerence. They fear abandonment and crave closeness, which fuels obsession. Think of it like this. Your brain is seeking security but mistakes excitement for safety. Sometimes, limerence reflects what we lack emotionally. If you feel unseen, unloved, or underappreciated, your mind may fixate on someone who represents validation or ideal connection. So, limerence is a mix of biology, psychology, and unmet emotional needs, a perfect storm for obsession. Limerence isn't harmless. It can have deep emotional, mental, and even physical consequences. Intense highs and lows. Every interaction feels monumental. Anxiety and stress, fear of losing them or being rejected dominate your thoughts. Jealousy, imagining them with someone else can trigger panic. Obsessive checking, texts, social media, even asking mutual friends about them. Over-idealization, ignoring reality and projecting fantasies onto them. Neglecting responsibilities, work, school, or social life can suffer. Intrusive thoughts dominate attention, difficulty focusing on other tasks, distorted thinking about the person and yourself. Racing heart, sweaty palms, insomnia, appetite changes, either eating too much or too little. Stress-related ailments if prolonged. Essentially, limerence is like an emotional roller coaster with no brakes, and while it can feel exciting at first, long-term obsession can be draining, disorienting, and even harmful. Imagine Sarah meets Tom at a seminar. She barely knows him, but she can't stop thinking about him. Every word he says echoes in her mind. She checks his social media multiple times a day, crafting accidental encounters to see him. This is classic limerence. The emotional obsession outweighs the reality of the relationship. Mark has been texting a girl online for weeks. He hasn't met her in person, but he's convinced she's perfect. Every late reply makes him anxious. He imagines their future together constantly. His friends warn him, but he can't stop. His brain is hooked on the dopamine of anticipation. Olivia works with Jason every day. She's brilliant, but every small gesture from him sends her heart racing. She analyzes every smile, every compliment, even replaying past conversations at night. Her productivity drops, and she's constantly stressed about how he feels. These stories aren't rare. Limerence touches millions of people worldwide, often unnoticed or misunderstood. The key is that it's obsession, not love, and it has distinct patterns you can recognize. So if you recognize yourself in these stories, what can you do? The first step is realizing that your thoughts are not facts. Just because your brain obsesses doesn't mean it's love. Naming it limerence takes power back from the obsession. Don't expect reciprocity or perfection. Understand that idealizing someone is a cognitive distortion. Your brain is adding layers of fantasy. Limit social media stalking. Schedule thought breaks where you consciously redirect attention to other tasks. Practice mindfulness to anchor yourself in the present. Invest in hobbies, friendships, and personal growth. The more fulfilling your life is, the less your mind clings to a single person. Therapy or counseling can help if limerence interferes with your life. Cognitive behavioral techniques can retrain thought patterns and reduce obsession. Limerence thrives on uncertainty. The less control you try to exert on someone else's feelings, the less power limerence has over you. Remember, limerence isn't a moral failing. It's a psychological phenomenon rooted in biology, attachment, and desire. Understanding it allows you to navigate it with clarity instead of being pulled along blindly. Limerence is intense. It's thrilling. It can feel like the most important thing in the world. But it's also a mirror to your mind, showing you what your brain craves, what your heart fears, and what your soul longs for. So the next time your thoughts spiral, ask yourself, am I loving this person or loving the idea of them? Is this obsession helping me grow or holding me back? If you found this video insightful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to OBEG Psychology for more deep dives into the human mind. And comment below, have you ever experienced limerence? How did it feel? Because understanding our minds is the first step towards mastering them.